Call to order the City Council regular meeting for the City of Wyoming, Minnesota, July 16th, 2024. Let the record reflect, we do have a quorum. Member Luger, Member Onstad, Member Schilling, Member Yeager, and Mayor Iverson are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda is open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items that may or may not be on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. You will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you conduct yourself in a professional, courteous manner and refrain from the use of profanity. Failure to abide by this policy may result in the loss of your privilege to speak. Do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak in open forum? Commissioner Monska?
Thank you.
And I'm not going to time you. You're good.
Okay. I'll keep it within the
It's good.
3 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. Today I wanted to bring a flyer that the county has put together, informational packet. It's like 60 pages long, front and back. And I'd like to just encourage the residents who'd like a copy of it. I can give you one, because it really lays out how the elections are handled in Minnesota and particularly in Chisago County. And I think there's a lot of concern there's a lot of concern as to the safety of our elections. And this kind of lays out the laws that the county carefully follows. We have to follow what the state law is, but we do it with fidelity. And we certainly investigate any allegations of improper voting, and those are prosecuted. However, often when there's an allegation of false or improper voting, it turns out that it was simply, it looked like somebody just didn't know what precinct they lived in, so they would try to vote in the wrong precinct, and that would be corrected. And so that has been, at least my experience, when there's been allegations of improper voting. It was really an innocent error, and they, in fact, did not vote twice. The issue of who gets prosecuted is, of course, up to the county attorney. And the last election, I was aware of one person that may have voted twice. I don't know if that was prosecuted, however, but certainly if there's a concern directed to the county, we would be happy to look into it with the proper assessor's office or the elections department, those that work in elections. So if anyone else would like a copy of this, I've got 3 more of these. I don't know if anyone else wants one. Okay.
Commissioner Monska, I think people don't know that this is the new logo for Chisago County. So
Yes.
that was about a year in planning from Chisago County, and this is what you came up with.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I just want you to know we're in Minnesota, not Arizona, so thank you for pointing that out.
So true, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't support it, but I have to say it is kind of catchy, and my colleagues, they made the choice to do that, and I'm living with it because I appreciate backing our needs in our community, and I'm going to back this logo. So.
Good. Awesome. All right. I think
So-
it looks good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I kind of like it too when I get
Yeah.
used to it. It's
Simplicity. People are looking for simplicity.
It's very catchy.
Yeah.
I need to run. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I
Thank
will
you.
try to stay for a long meeting. I really enjoy staying the entire meeting. Appreciate the service that each of you have. If you have something that the county should be working on, if I'm not aware of it, let me know, and I'm happy to jump to it.
Okay. You know my want list.
I do, yes. And we're still working on
Okay, good.
everything that you
All right.
have directed to us.
All right.
Thank you
Perfect.
so much for letting me
Thank
speak.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your service.
All right, moving on to the agenda is number 1, approval of minutes. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for July 2nd, 2024. If there are no comments or questions, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Member Luger. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Number 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Does anybody wish to pull an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda number 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Moving on to acknowledgement of receipts of reports of officers, boards, commissions, and department heads. Number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Does anybody wish to pull a report? Seeing none, we'll move on to communications. Number 11, the annual report. Mr. McFarland, is that you? The next two?
The first one will be me.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Honorable Mayor and members of council, the annual report is a report that has traditionally been done by the Assistant City Administrator each year. The report reviews the year prior, so this one's the 2023 annual report, and it really just gives an overview of different things such as community events and kind of goes in depth on each department and their accomplishments and other things that we thought were highlight worthy. So a bit of a lengthy report, but if there are any questions on that, I stand for those.
Okay, does anybody have any questions regarding the report? There are not, thank you, appreciate it. Number 12, results of, okay, I will say this wrong, so radiochemical, am I saying that right? What, okay. Monitoring Wyoming, Chisago County, PWSID 1130018. Mr. Linwood, is that you?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. The memo you see in front of you, this is something that we need to share with the council from the Minnesota Department of Health. This is just the results from our radiochemical monitoring for the radium in well 3. It's essentially the sampling sites and identifies the dates and the results and the samples and annual averages that were collected. Right now that we have gone through that process, and essentially that we are currently in our compliance status with the gallons that we can pump out of well 3 right now. These results are sent to WSB, as we know that they've been continuing to monitor that. We've had conversations and discussions with council about that well. So that was sent to WSB, and I think it's gone through their water experts department to kind of just keep that analysis going and to watch that as we continue to do preparation if we ever did need to do any kind of system or new well or things like that, as we've kind of chatted with council. But with that, I don't know, Mr. Erickson, if you have anything to add.
Just the only thing I would add is, Mr. Linwood did share that information with us, and we kind of house a lot of that, and we report occasionally to city council and just provide an update where things are at with that. And so, again, we did here, I believe this winter, maybe fall, can't remember the exact date, but we'll do that again here off and on, and make sure to keep the council apprised of trends. And it's not, we won't do that each time we receive these, but we'll do occasionally monitoring these trends and providing updates to the city council on what we might expect in the future.
Okay, perfect. Any questions from council? Member Luger?
No questions.
Member Onstad?
No questions.
Member Schilling?
No questions.
Member Yeager?
No questions.
All right. We'll move on to new business, moving right along. Number 12, to consider resolution 240770, a resolution providing for the competitive negotiated sale of $2,885,000 general obligation improvement bond series 2024A. Is that Mr. Erickson? Or is you starting?
Yes, Mayor, if I could start, and then we also have Chris Hogan here from Baker Tilly, who I'll introduce to the council. I
Hi,
don't think you've
welcome.
had the opportunity, or some of you may know Chris, but it gives you an opportunity to meet
Yeah.
Ms. Hogan. But essentially, this is in regards to our 2024 street project. Kind of goes through, and I will let Ms. Hogan speak to the pre-sale summary, and then the preparation of this process and kind of the timelines, and then along with approving that resolution tonight for the negotiated sale for the 2024 Series A bonds. So with that,
All right.
Ms. Hogan.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Again, Chris Hogan from Baker Tilly, serving in the city as the municipal advisor. And I'm here tonight to provide information relative to the resolution that the city is considering tonight for the authorization of $2,885,000 general obligation improvement bond series 2024A. The proceeds of the bonds will be used for financing of the 2024 street improvement projects. As part of the key events relative to the bond issuance, tonight we're considering the resolution to move ahead with the sale. July 31st, the city and Moody's and Baker Tilly will have a rating conference. The proposals were received on the bids on August 7th at 10:30 with award and consideration of the bonds that evening, and proceeds of the bonds will be received on September 17th. Currently, like I said, the rating conference will be held on July 31st. The city's current rating is AA3 by Moody's. The bonds are being issued pursuant to Minnesota statutes 475 and 429. That's the tool in which the city is authorized to sell the bonds. The bonds will be repaid through general tax levies, and a portion of it will be repaid with special assessments. The term of the bonds is going to be a repayment over 15 years with a central level annual debt service. The current estimated true interest cost on our 15-year bond structure is 3.89%. And then just some of the additional terms. They'll have optional prepayment in 10 years, so if the city would want to call them early for any reason, they have that option. And the bonds are considered bank qualified because they're less than 10 million.
Can you explain the AA3? What does that mean for our city?
Okay, so the rating is a AAA is the highest, and then it's AA1, AA2, AA3, and it goes to single A. So anything in that AA category is a very strong rating. So the higher the rating, the better your interest rates you will get on the day of pricing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, questions from council. We'll start with Member Schilling,
No questions?
Member Yeager.
Okay, we won't get the bids in until the end of the month, is that correct?
July 31st.
Right, okay, so do we usually take out the bonds not knowing what the bids are coming in at?
In regards to receiving bids for that,
Well, what if the bids come in for less than 2.88 million?
Well, part of the terms of the bonds is that it's on the day of sale, you can make any adjustments to the bond size. So if it happened to come in 20,000 later or less than the bids, we have the opportunity to make
Okay.
an adjustment on the day of sale. And underwriters, the bidders are fully aware of that.
Oh, okay, cool, so we can change if the bids come in good,
Yes.
okay.
All right. All right. Member Luger,
I have no questions.
Member Onstad.
No questions.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right, so we need a motion to approve Resolution 240770, a resolution approving, providing for the competitive negotiated sale of 2.885 million general obligation improvement bonds, Series 2024A. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Member Schilling, and I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 14, to consider Resolution 240771, a resolution adopting a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour on Pioneer Road. Is that Chief Bauer, or who's? Okay, Mr. Erickson's gonna start.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and members of council. You may recall Pioneer Roadway was reconstructed in 2018, and as part of that process, we worked with MnDOT. It was a state aid roadway. We did receive local road improvement program funds for that. We did have to meet their design criteria, and part of that, we worked through the process in trying to modify the speed. We did have resident input wanting to lower the speed at that time. We were able to complete the urban section at a 30 mile an hour, but the other portion we were not allowed to. Since that time, the Minnesota legislature did offer more flexibility for communities to set speed limits, and we've worked for quite a while waiting for some guidance on that and got some recent information. And so today, we are recommending moving forward with a modification to that speed limit, and it is based on a number of findings. Our public works staff had set up equipment that the police department had purchased with related to a speed study, along with some other data that did collect. We did review that. We looked at sight distances. We looked at crash data. We looked at vertical and horizontal alignments. And we do feel there would be a benefit in lowering that speed limit to 30 miles an hour from Wyoming Trail to Iris. So that's the entirety of Pioneer Road within the city of Wyoming. We have communicated this with Chisago City. They also will be discussing that at an upcoming council meeting. So we can't dictate what they do, but we certainly are recommending that. We feel comfortable with that recommendation, and we'll stand for any questions that you might have.
Okay, so we'll start with Member Onstad.
No questions.
Member Luger.
No questions.
Member Yeager.
No questions. This was well presented to justify the action.
Member Schilling.
You had answered my question. I was wondering what they were gonna do, because, it goes from 30 to 40, and then it would go back, and then go back up to 40. So if they're talking about, so ideally it would end up all the way out to 8, correct?
Correct.
Is that the goal?
Ideally, yes, and they will be, as Mr. Harrison said, they will be talking about it at their next council meeting with the
Okay.
council as well.
I have a question for Chief Bauer. So Chief Bauer, I received an email, perfect timing, this afternoon from a Miss Seifert who lives on Pioneer, and she talked about an accident that just happened recently, something caught on fire, we had a drunk driver, that sort of thing. And she asked about the speed limit change, so this is perfect, right? This is really good. My only question is, she wants to know if there can be a little more police presence out there, just to kind of, as that gets implemented, if police can be out there a little bit more. I'm not sure, I think we always talk about it's hard to put a squad car on that road, right?
Part of this implementation plan would include increased, and I just emailed the officer that's kind of assigned to that area last night, to do increased enforcement. On the front end would be just advising people of the change. We're not looking to write citations initially, but just to do a visible presence in the area, and also just, hey, did you happen to see the new sign with the little, orange thing on it? To tell people that just, there is a change in
Yeah.
the speed limit here. And our goal is to educate, and then ultimately do another speed study out there after it's been out there for a while to see what the impact of that speed limit reduction is. So yes, that's the objective. It is a difficult area just because of the roadway design, and there's not a whole lot of shoulder, which is kind of part of the design there.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of space to do a traffic stop, but we'll make sure that it does
Okay,
happen during that rollout. Yes.
I'll let her know if she's
Great.
not watching tonight, so I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
one additional item that I should have maybe presented and I hadn't communicated with Steve, so I'm not sure.
Uh-oh.
The timeline, if you're inclined to move forward with this, Public Works staff would do that. We would flag this changes with, the red, red
Flags.
flags, if you will. Do you know rough timeline on when this might be implemented? I don't know if I think you were ordering signs, but wanted to make sure you had things on hand, and not sure where that's at.
Yeah, I would think we'd be able to get this done within the next week. Rather than the flags, I was gonna go with the orange bar
Okay.
above the sign, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
But I would think hopefully by the end of the week, but for certain within the week, so.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we are going to need a resolution, or we need to approve resolution 240771, a resolution adopting a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour on Pioneer Road. I'm gonna make that first. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second and a third, so we have a second from Member Onstad, a third from Member Luger. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved, which is great. All right, so council reports, we will start with Member Luger.
I attended the Chisago Lakes Joint Sewer Commission meeting last night. Thank you all for coming.
All right, and Member Onstad.
I attended the work session, budget work session, just prior to this meeting, and I believe that's it.
Perfect. And Member Schilling?
Thank you all for coming. I have no report.
Okay. Member Yeager?
Oh, and I just attended this work session before the meeting, and thank you all for coming, and thank you all for watching.
All right, I had a busy couple of weeks. The EDA meeting was canceled. We'll get that on for next month. I also chair the Joint Chisago County Sewer Commission. We will have some changes up in that commission just based on what I'll be talking about in a minute. The work session also, we had a bus full of county commissioners and staff that toured the city of Wyoming, and that was pretty exciting for them to see all the great things that we have going on. And I believe the comment was, we didn't realize all the great things that you had going on. So that was really great that they could come in and see what we're doing here. I'd also like to say congratulations to Lakes Gas on their 65th anniversary. Is that correct, Mr. Linwood? 65th
That is correct.
anniversary being in business. I think that's wonderful and that they're here in our city. I also would like to say congratulations to a business owner who has retired. She's a big supporter of our city and also for the fire relief and the Stagecoach Days. So congratulations to Candy Gertz, First Service Agency, who is now officially retired. So very excited for her. And last but definitely not least, I would like to send our condolences to Mayor Gustafson's family for his passing a couple weeks ago. He will be greatly missed within the county and also with his city. I learned a lot from him as I've been mayor the last 8 years, and it's definitely going to be a lot different without him in our county. So we want to send on our condolences to him. That's all I have. With that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?